Hello, and welcome to another podcast from the Executive Suite. And today we have Sadra Khorvash from Ceravai, and he's going to tell us all about the strategies he's using for sales and marketing and utilizing AI. Very interesting stuff, and it's something that every business owner should know about. So, Sadra, can you start off by giving us a summary of the kind of things your company does?
Yeah. Hi. Thank you for having me, first of all. My company does lead generation for businesses on LinkedIn and through cold email sequences. So we first, when we were talking to a business, every business wants more leads, and lead is like the direct correlator to higher revenue as well. So it's very directed into revenue generation. And so that's why I chose it, because every business needs more leads and more clients, and they want to have that flow kind of automated. So what we do is we figure out who their ideal customer profile is. And every business has that, they've niched down to a sector that they know their products works best with them, and drives the best results. So we figure out who these kind of personas are, and then when we have a clear grasp of that, I have a scraper tool which goes out there in the web from LinkedIn and many different sources, scrapes these people, and we get a database of how many total addressable market for these ideal customer profile is out there for their business based on the geography, types of people, like founders, owners, who they want to speak to in companies and company size, and many different filters. And then from there, we, give that data to a sort of a LinkedIn outreach sequence and cold email outreach sequence. So it goes out there and organically connects with these people, sends the initial message. It's like, hey, I'm out here, saw your profile, or however approach you want to do. We don't want to ever sell in the message. The selling only happens when you get them on a call, but through all of this, we just want to qualify those people that are interested in the businesses, providing, qualify them and get them into meetings so they can be closed. So yeah, we reach out to them, and then as soon as they show interest, so they send a message back. I have created an AI agent, which I'm sure 2025, they say, is the world of AI agents, and AI is a buzzword. It's going to be here to stay. I've created one so that, you know, based on each business in the onboarding, I give the AI agent everything to know about the businesses, case studies, what have they done good, how do they operate, like frequently asked questions, so that if a lead comes back and has a question, or, wants to know more information, the AI agent can do that and lead them into an appointment. And as soon as the appointment's booked, my job's done, and they just take over from there. So that's kind of what I do.
Interesting. So, tell me more about the AI agent that you developed, and how does it answer questions? So the person sends back an email saying, I'm kind of interested. Can you give me some examples of your work? Like if you're a photographer, can do you have a website? They'll ask questions. How does the AI agent respond to that?
So um, this is called a retrieval augmented generation agent, which is type of an agent that it has a database. It has a database of a bunch of information about the business. And this could be like 20 pages, for example, 20 word pages. And then we do vector spacing, which we, partition it into small biteable sections and give it to the agent, which an AI agent is just something that has a brain. Like, we are technically an agent. We have a brain, and we can make decisions based on the data that we receive from our surroundings, or from, language, or anything like that. So think of an AI agent pretty much the same thing. The brain is could be, OpenAI's chat models, there's Gemini, there's Claude, many different sort of brains that are out there from these big companies, and they keep getting better and better. So as time goes on, these AI agents' brains will get better and better, and they will be able to do tasks more efficiently, more concisely. But so there's this 20-page PDF for an example. It could be 40, it could be 10. Uh, we provide that to the agent and we tokenize it so it can access it in an efficient way. It's a computer science term that it doesn't have to scan the whole thing every time. It has maybe address books that sees a question. It's like, okay, I have to go to this address because it already has some vitable information about it. And there's also three inputs that goes into that. So there's the previous chat history with that lead. So that just gets, there's API integrations that we can fetch that from email and LinkedIn. So the chat history goes into the agent, so it has the full context is what has been talked about with that lead. The profile information of that user. So if it's on LinkedIn, that's very easy. You just, scrape the profile. Or if it's on Gmail, we already have some, information about them. So we just feed that again to the agent. And every time a message comes in, it goes through all that. So it gets the profile information, it gets the chat history, it goes through the talk, it sees the message as well. So these are the three, the message. And then it goes through its database that it has, and it has the brain, it has its objectives already cleared out and instructions with prompt engineering, where I come in, also just setting everything up, and then it comes back with an answer. And then it could be, there's two ways to create that. One way is that the answer just gets spewed out and it sends it right back to the lead. Or the second one is the human in the loop, which I personally like the most because, these agents aren't like the smartest yet. They're still in their infancy. So I get, notifications that, hey, a lead has, said this and the agent has written this. So I just approve, decline, I can change it just to make sure everything is aligned. And that's it.
Hmm. So we're all familiar with the kind of chat box agents that you see in the corner of a website screen if you're trying to get in touch with the telephone company or your ISP provider because your service has gone down. And you've got this little chat box that pops up in the corner and asks you, well, what do you want to, what's your problem? And you can put in your problem and it then gives you like, oh, is it one of these? And then maybe it's none of those. And you say, no, it's none of those. And you have to go through this 3 or 4 uh, levels of questioning before you get to the point where you can just say, well, I just want to talk to an agent. And then the chat box will say, so you want to talk to an agent? Yes, that's what I want. And then they'll say, okay, well, we'll put you in touch with an agent. How would you distinguish your AI agent from one of those? Because those ones just annoy people, I think. And they're supposed to speed things up for these companies and make their employees more efficient. But it's kind of like putting people on hold. They don't really do anything. And they saying they're in their infancy is almost an understatement because I think that they're many of them are completely useless, frankly. So your agent seems to do much more. Why are those ones so useless? And how would you distinguish yours from those chat box agents that you see?
Yeah. So those chat boxes that you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have a brain. So they just imagine, I'm not sure if you're familiar with like terms, but imagine there's a branch of tree with every decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go is like start chat and there's you know, five paths you can go onto. And then
Mm-hmm.
each path has four and it just, populates this tree down.
Mm-hmm.
That's not being smart. That's just, having different options, and they try to scram it in as much as possible so that you have, like, by the end, there's like, for example, 50 different paths. So they try to
Mm-hmm.
cover as much frequently asked questions or what they think, um, would be asked frequently. But for an AI agent recently that has a brain. Like, for example, if you go to ChatGPT, it doesn't give you like 5 different options, like what are these questions you want to ask? Like, you
Hmm.
can just type whatever you want, and
Hmm.
based on that, it comprehends it and answers you in the way that it's trained. And so this is the same way. Those chatbots that you mentioned, they've been around for many years actually now, and they've been around before AI. So they're not really in is smart at all. They're
It's
just
not really AI then.
definitely not. No, it's not AI. They're just, routing you to where they don't have a thinking model. But
It's not a
mm,
real agent. It's not an AI agent, basically.
definitely not. No, they're
It's
just a
or just call
simple
it a chat
chatbot.
box then. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So so calling those an AI agent isn't accurate at all then. And so we get to the point where your AI agent answers the initial email. So somebody bites and they send back an email saying, whatever, like, do you have some examples of your work or testimonials or something like that? Then your AI agent sends them back a message. One of the things that I've encountered is that a lot of things written by AI look to me they're kind of obviously written by AI. How do you overcome that and make your message look more personal? That so it's a real person writing the message and not the sort of chat GPT style, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Yeah. So the magic is prompt engineering. I feel like everyone in the world should learn how to prompt an AI and to get the responses that they're looking for, because that is really valuable and will be even much, much more valuable in the coming years. So I've done good at that because I've been in, the startup space since November of 2023, almost 2 years ago. And, you know, the way you articulate yourself and the way you understand these brain models, which is the OpenAI, which is what I usually mostly, is how do you write so that it doesn't give you that generic AI voice? It's genuine, it's concise, it doesn't linger on and write like a full paragraph when it could have been more effectively and efficiently articulated in like maybe a couple sentences. So there's all these things that need to be solved for it to be high converting, like the highest conversion as I want it to be, and just, genuine and, sound like a true interested person that just wants to, help out and provide value, which is really what it is. But it really comes to prompt engineering. I can't really go into too much detail because that would be sort of like a secrets per se a little bit, but you just tell it what your objective is in the most clear way. Maybe give it some examples, counter examples, just, really articulate what you're trying to accomplish with it. And more than 50% of my agent currently is just the prompts. So if I want to say percentage wise how important it is, it's more than 50%. Like any computer scientist, if they take 6 months, they can build the sequences and scrape and API integrate, but not too many people can get the prompts to the level that is like truly to the highest standard.
Hmm. So does your AI agent operate entirely on its own, or does it tie into something like OpenAI?
So it runs on the cloud, so it runs 24/7, but it has to use OpenAI's model. So it is connected to OpenAI. It is connected to a couple more, you know, cloud service tools, because no one in their home can just go and get LinkedIn messages from any account. Like there has to be a third party provider that's already trusted by LinkedIn, gone through the steps to be able to be a verified and validated source of this information from the LinkedIn side. And then you just tap into that. So that has to be steps like that. Same with Gmail. and same with the Brain, which is OpenAI and stuff like that. But it does run 24/7, and it can be updated in that way much more effectively as well because the ecosystem is there. And if another Brain comes, like for example, Gemini comes with an update in a week that's like just blows OpenAI out of the water, I can just swap the Brain out just like this. The tool works great, and it's just better. It's just better, much faster, and it's you can just plug and play different tools to it.
Hmm. So besides this kind of lead generation, uh, what else do you think that what other applications do you think would work for this kind of technology?
I think lead generation, I mean, I've created it to be fine tuned to lead generation, but I have many other systems that just do, for example, um, scraping the web for finding your ICP. I have a tool just for that. There is, doing research. For example, you see a LinkedIn account, you're like, wow, this guy would be a great fit for my company. I think this is a great client that I would love to have. And then you go input its LinkedIn URL, for example, in a Telegram bot that I created, and you say, hey, can you research this for me? And the agent, it's a different agent that is sole purpose is to find this character on the web, like from like 6, 7 websites usually, and come up with a full analysis of what their pain points is, evidence, personalization messaging to your brand. It already has information about your brand, and it just does a full research. So when you are going into a sales call, for example, you already have so much information on this guy, and you know what angles to approach to make the close rate as high as possible. So there's all these different tools that will just tap in to make, life more effective per se, more efficient. And this is really just the beginning, as I've already mentioned. If like right now, third party people like myself can do this, but when big conglomerate companies like Google or Amazon just come up with, self-made agents that just do all that on your browser automatically, it's just that's the end of the game. But yeah, there's many. Each agent is fine tuned to its task, and that's how it should be. So for example, my lead gen agent cannot do anything else effectively. The prompts have to be changed, the structure has to be changed, and so there's systems that you can build for pretty much anything these days.
Now, did you start doing the cold mail outreach, and then later on you developed your AI agent to make the responses later on after you realized, well, what happens if I get like a dozen responses every day? I'll spend all day long responding to these people, then I don't get any work done. Is that how it happened, or did you just start off with the AI agent? I'm just wondering how you got the idea to develop that.
hmm Yeah, I've been doing it myself. I've been doing cold outreach on LinkedIn for a while now. Um, Actually, not a while, like 7 months. Kind of pretty new to this game, but at the beginning, I was just building AI systems for any business backend. So businesses would come to me, they're like, hey, this part of my business is inefficient. I need a system for it. I would go build it. Like, for example, the chatbot thing you mentioned earlier,
Hmm.
I did a voice AI agent for a business's website. So instead of the chatbot, there was just you click it and it would come up a voice thing and you would speak to it. You'd be like, hey, when are you guys open? And the AI agent already had all the information about the website. Just come back like, hey, we're open 7 to 10 on Monday, Wednesday, or whatever. And so that actually has a brain. So I was just doing that. But then I realized that's not scalable. If I'm doing personalized work and everything's customized to each client, I
Hmm.
can't sell this client's product to another client. And so, it was tedious work. So I was like, hey, I need a system, I need a product that I can just scale. And so I came to the lead generation because every business virtually needs more of it. So I was like, it's a no brainer. If I can just master lead generation, like I will never be broke or run out of clients. So then I'm sort of doing that in the process as well. If I haven't mastered it, definitely not, but I'm like getting better and better. And so I at the beginning I thought maybe to hire VAs, but I was like, why would I do that? I studied computer science, there's AI, I can do that so effectively. And so that again comes down to scalability as to if I have AI agents doing that for each client, then eventually I'll just approve the message and that for the first month or two. But then when I see the agent is just like, because when you see a message, for example, there's a message that the AI wrote to one of the leads inquiries or whatever. You see the message, you're like, okay, this part is wrong. It should be fixed. I go back to the prompts, change the prompt, and then so I self improve it. And then eventually all the messages like up to par. I'm like, okay, this is great. This is great. This is great. And then it just runs autonomously. Like I don't even have to touch it. And it just generates money. So it's scalable. And eventually I started myself, but this tool will just make it scalable and easier to do. So that's why I jumped into it. And it adds more value to the company too, because now I have a trade secret, something that is unique to my company. So eventually when I try to even sell it or, do anything with it,
Hmm.
then this is unique to my company. So it will bring the valuation much higher.
Yeah, for sure. So, do you have any um, predictions you can share with us where this system of uh, cold lead generation is going to go in the next couple of years? I know one issue is always deliverability, um, trying to get into people's email boxes and not come across as spam, right? Um, do you think that this is a sort of thing that's going to keep growing, or is it something that there could be some new technology that just puts an end to it, like where Google decides, well, this is all spam, we don't want it anymore, and they just block it?
Yeah. So I think in the future, we'll all just have a, a VA AI agent. So somebody that assists us and monitors every single channel point that comes to us. So you would engineer that. You'd be like, hey, check my emails, only, give me emails that are of certain way or, you know, just filter this stuff for me because and honestly, this is just my guess. Like, you never know what's gonna happen truly in the future. That's one of the hardest things to predict. But eventually, like our agents will talk to each other if that makes sense. Like, my agent will send an email to your agent. Your agent will be like, okay, yeah, maybe Thomas would like to see that, and then it will present it to you in a maybe summarized way. And every business needs leads. So that will not go everywhere because businesses needs new people to, show their products to interact with them. And that's how business is really like it's a core fundamental of it. So, but the way to present it may be changed. As I mentioned, like agents will talk to agents, but yeah, I think that's how we'll come down. Well, I know YouTube actually, they are not side topic. YouTube is not going to pay for AI generated content on their platform anymore starting from tomorrow. So maybe Google will come out and be like, hey, if an email we can obviously tell it's 100% written by AI, maybe we'll not make it send. And so, that will add a new set of challenges, a new set of opportunities as anything comes. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what they decide because they truly rule the world at this point.
Yeah, well, apparently they use it themselves at the present, so I don't think they're going to ban it right away. But I was just thinking, it would be a pain, but they could develop a system where, okay, before this email gets sent, you have to go through one of these little captcha things to prove that you're a human, or you got to give us your fingerprint or something like that. Um, but it does seem like right now, for at least for B2B, the this email outreach has it's kind of replaced digital marketing. Um, what about for business to consumer? Is there some way to apply this to, like B2C? Um, because I don't know how you would get the email lists. Is there a way to make that work? Do you think will that be something that's in the future for this kind of marketing?
I mean, that's a great question, and it's the $1,000,000 question. I don't think there's any platform out there that's doing B2C to the highest effective level. And, you know, an obvious reason that comes to mind is because their ICP, ideal customer profile, is not clearly defined.
Hmm.
I can say, for example, my aunt has a med spa in West Vancouver. And, I've been trying to help. I've been actively looking for a way to promote her, med spa treatments to people. But who are her ideal customer profile? It could be anyone. It could be male, it could be female, people that love massages, people that do radio frequency or any treatment, because her offerings is so vast that it would have to be niched down, and on it would just be hard to find, because a part of scraping as well is, you get information on the business. And on a business, there's a lot of information because there's the website, there is, the blogs and owners and founders. There's many employees that come from that company. So each of their profiles is also information to a degree. But if you want to find like people who love massages in Vancouver, Canada, like super vague. There's no effective way to find that and snipe them down. So
Right. They don't have a title like chief
yeah,
engineer or human resources. So, but that would just mean that the AI would just have to be that much more thorough and, figure out from somebody's social media. Um, they'd have to be like a bit of a Sherlock Holmes. You'd have to find out who this person really is, because a lot of people on social media use false names to protect their privacy. You would have to figure out what their email address is and how to contact them. So, it should be possible. All the information is out there somewhere on the internet, probably. You just have to figure out how to uncover it.
yeah, definitely true. The one thing is that Instagram is very, or Meta, the
Hmm.
parent company,
Hmm.
very strict on like anti-spam laws. Like there's no tool out there that, for example, I can build the AI agent for that would send messages on Meta. There's nothing like that.
Hmm.
And so, and they have the most amount of users that are consumer based, right?
Hmm.
Because LinkedIn
Right.
is more B2B, but that's
Hmm.
why for Meta, if they don't have a tool that integrates with their system, there's no way to, you know, streamline this process of reaching out to those ICPs that even we found, for example, with the best methods that we have currently. And that's why the business to consumer side is harder, because how would you reach out? Like email, fine. But yeah, I don't know. Like Meta would be the best. Instagram, for example, you just send them a message, hey, 20% off this med spa. I saw, like, for example, you have a photo on your profile that you're getting massages or whatever.
Hmm.
So you'd be a good fit. But can't happen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that looks like a good spot to wrap this episode up. Thank you very much, Sadra, for coming on and sharing your insights with us on AI and cold email outreach and your AI assistant. It sounds very interesting, and I hope I hope it takes off for you, and maybe you'll be licensing your AI assistant to a big company sometime in the near future.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you, Thomas, for having me. And yeah, thank you.
Okay. Take care. Bye for now.